Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and I am super excited to be talking about Transformers Generations Studio Series Transformers the movie Megatron. The titles haven't gotten really much shorter, but this is a fantastic little toy that arrived early. I was not expecting this guy for maybe another couple weeks. I'm super glad to have it in hand, though, and I'm excited to share it. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me when I got it was the packaging. I do want to complain about this real quick. Amazon, this is absolutely not acceptable. I don't know, like everything else comes in a dedicated box. I do like to reduce packaging when possible, but I got multiple things and they were just kind of thrown on my porch instead of put in a one box together. That was very frustrating, and I have complained to them about it. Yeah, but the sticker is right on here, you know, that's frustrating. But the toy itself is really, really neat. We've gotten plenty of Megatrons over the years. I know before we got the reveal of the toy, the early rumors about Megatron, before they did some interview questions about him, people thought that this was going to be a remold of Megatronus from Age of the Primes. And I'm super glad to say that's not the case. Megatronus is a good toy. I've already reviewed that one if you want to check out that video. But this is entirely its own thing. And it feels very in keeping with the current Studio Series aesthetic driven by Studio Series 86. We have a lovely tank in that really nice warm gray that Megatron is known for. It avoids looking like that prototype gray plastic. I think it is just a fantastic looking color. We've got this dark like gunmetal with bits of brown in it. I think that looks really good. We do have the gray shins. I know some people were complaining about it, but I like the style. I like the added bit of contrast. He does have his own gun, so he can wield himself, or you can give this to, you know, one of your other Megatrons without issue. He comes with a sword, and that sword looks very nice. The tank has casters. It can roll just fine. I like its profile from the side. My biggest complaint is just the rotation point, and this is something that would be, I think, not possible to fix at this price point. We need to go to a higher price point to fix it, but essentially the barrel rotates on the back end, but the turret center line is in the center of the tank. So instead of this rotation point being moved forward an inch, it's back here, so that if you're trying to fire in any other direction, it does look really silly. It looks ridiculous. But if you're breaking your center line a little bit, I think it's passable. And it does have nice casters. So like it does most things right. It does the most egregious, annoying thing that Transformers tank turrets do, but every Transformers tank turret kind of does it. So I'm not going to complain that much. In terms of comparing this to other Megatrons, I thought about comparing it to Megatronus, but they are entirely different molds. I don't think that's really an appropriate comparison. Instead, let's talk about him next to the Siege Megatron mold. Now, obviously, this is the hero version, but you can see here, even though this is a leader price point, and there is a clear difference in mass and weight, things have compacted down very, very nicely here. While the other Megatron to compare him to, I think, is, I would say, our best tank for Megatron. This is Combiner Wars Leader Megatron. He has not just casters, but actual treads that move really, really nicely. The turret, you can see, is centered almost appropriately. Like, it's really, really close to exactly where it needs to be. And it is massive, and I love that silver color. I like this silver so much that if we were to get a repaint of this guy just using silver, I'd probably pick up that version. As is, this is, you know, you can see how this compares in tank mode. I think that this is doing an excellent job of giving us the things we are looking for in a tank. I do like that this is a 5mm port up top, so you can put, yeah, I mean, that is like if you're firing a shell, that is the kind of effect that I want to go with it. I dig this Megatron a lot. I was worried about it being one of those little itty bitty effect ports, but I love that they gave us a big one. Now, there's obviously other tanks we could compare him to, but again, I mean, I think that those aren't as helpful as illustrating of the Megatron options for G1, what our things are. This is Siege, very Cybertronian, lighter, and it swivels and does its thing just fine. But then these two versions, I think, if you're looking to display Megatron in tank mode, you're kind of looking at these two versions. The nice thing being that Megatron obviously has a really cool robot mode as well. Transformation is intuitive, it's complex, but it's fun, and it comes together in a straightforward manner once you do it once. We're going to take his feet, we're going to bring them up on both ends, and that just gives us little platforms so that if we want him to stand like that, we can, and it's convenient. We can come in and we can split apart the arms. There are little pegs on either side that hold the cannon in place. The cannon sits and wraps on top of this piece. We're going to take this and we're going to push it back to form his cannon shape while splitting off the front end of the cannon barrel and bringing this peg up. We'll set that to the side for now. With these arms out of the way, we can come in on the front end and we can open up the sides of the treads, and we're just going to get our feet out. These shin pieces are tabbed in, but they can be brought out very easily. To build out our legs with these sections out to the sides, we can open up this panel, and then coming on the back end, we can push on this corner piece to lift out this whole section here. Lets us pull this corner in, close it up. Same thing on this side, open this section, folding that piece in, closing it up, and then we can fold things up and around on top of themselves. Folding this piece back, it's got a little tab and a slot for it right back here. We can wrap this around, it's going to tab it up top, and then we can bring this panel down and everything tabs in nicely to form a nice chunky leg. Same thing on the other side, bringing this panel down to give us some freedom of movement, using this piece to separate out like so, folding that piece in, folding this piece up, folding these pieces up and around, tabbing this piece in, and then bringing the panel down, and everything clicks in very securely. Again, they're just nice chunky legs. This also does kind of partially transform the top of his torso. We're bringing this flap down. We're going to extend these legs up, which lets us flip out these waist pieces and rotate his whole waist assembly. With that out of the way, we can come in at the back end and separate out his shoulder pieces, which are on this like triple jointed assembly that I think is kind of neat and clever and I hadn't seen in Transformers before. We can come in at this end on the front. This was our little tank section that we want to, it collapsed, but we want to open it up and open it out so that we can get our head around. Normally that would stay up. With his head out of the way, we can collapse things back in. Before we do, we want to take this piece and collapse that, and then that lets us bring down, and his little torso with his belly buttons will close up around it. Then we can bring in on the back end, we'll flip around his shoulders to get them kind of pointed the way that we want, and we're going to bring in these arm sections back here. Those will tab in nicely on either side, letting us collapse the shoulders inward like so and like so. Finally, we can open up the forearm panels, flipping things around, wedging out his fist, closing things back up around it. Same thing on this side. Open up that forearm panel, flip it 180, bring out that fist, and close it back up around. We're going to lift our camera up just a little bit. Grabbing this piece, we'll put it on his back. There is his the only bits of parts forming is this gun piece and then his obviously massive cannon piece. And Megatron just looks so good in hand. I don't have Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. I reviewed it last year. I gave it away for charity as part of our Extra Life fundraiser. I did order a second one so I could do a comparison. This guy arrived before Optimus Prime did, but he looks similar to Optimus Prime Studio Series 86, where they look like they've come off the cartoon screen. We have fantastic articulation here. The head, while it may be a little on the flat side, tilts and wiggles and has lots of attitude. That is a fantastic head sculpt. We've got a good 360 on the shoulder. The way the shoulder pylon works, it doesn't hamper that motion at all. Bicep swivel, 90 degree, slightly deeper than 90 degree bend because of the angle of this forearm. I really like that. We've got a ball joint on the wrist, so there is some up and down. We've got individually articulated fingers. That is awesome. The front finger and then the three fingers together. Those each have 2 joints in them. We have a great waist swivel. We've got a kick that is very high, a back kick that is very high, a side kick that the skirt pieces don't get in the way for, but they close nicely. Good thigh swivel, slightly deeper than 90 degree knee bend. We've got ankle tilts. Yeah, just fantastic. He can be blowing away a fool, no problem. He can be, opening up his hand to swing his sword. It just, again, a fantastic marriage of elements here. A really good tank mode, not perfect, but very, very good. And then I would say a perfect robot mode. I mean, look, there's nothing on the back end here. The fact that they've taken like the MP36 engineering, scaled things down, made it simpler, made it in some ways look better. It's not the same as MP36. MP36 is transformation magic, but that is obviously a very different price point than this one. I think he looks really, really good. And obviously you can have any of your other cons wielding this gun. If we wanted to do some sort of size comparison, there he is next to one of the deluxe Constructicons wielding his gun. Just an excellent leader of the Decepticons, a really fun toy. And I'd say my new favorite Megatron toy. We'll compare him to his buddies. But in terms of other Megatrons, I do think there was a time when I said that you could go either way with the Siege mold or the Combiner Wars mold, depending on what you want. But I do think Studio Series now is just the best Generations mass retail Megatron mold. It does everything great about this version in vehicle mode while having a fantastic robot mode. I also want to shout out and say how much I appreciate the fact that Megatron and Megatronus are entirely different molds. I mentioned it at the beginning of the review, but it is really, really cool that we have both of these characters in such radically different designs. Even though they have some similarities that are superficial in terms of aesthetics, the fundamental engineering being so different really helps them shine apart. Megatron might end up being my toy of the year. He is really, really, really good. I highly recommend you pick him up. And if you want this guy, this is not a giveaway video today, but I will be doing a giveaway of Megatron as well as Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime when he arrives as part of our Extra Life fundraiser, so keep an eye out. Thanks everybody for watching. Catch you on the next one. Bye!